Hello everyone, I'm Peter Masaru.
And I'm Samantha Wright-Allen. Welcome back to the Hill Times newsroom in Ottawa. September is always a very busy month for politicians and their staff, and this year is no different. Parliament will return in a few short weeks, but before that, the Conservative Party of Canada will name their new leader. Peter, what can we expect in the last few days of the leadership election?
Well, we know that party members have been sending in their ballots by mail over about the last month, and the party is going to name the winner of the contest on September 10th. Now, this isn't just a case of most votes wins. Members are using a ranked ballot system, which means their second and third choices could end up mattering. And we know that geography is going to matter a lot as well, because every riding in the country with at least 100 Conservative Party members has been given an equal say in determining the winner through a points system. Right now, it's expected that the front runner is Conservative MP Pierre Poilievre. He is a gifted communicator, a talented politician who has amassed quite a following. He also has a lot of critics, people who will point to his flirtation with elements of the Canadian far right, the fact that he has launched personal attacks sometimes on his opponents and on the non-political Bank of Canada. His main rival is Jean Charest, a former Premier of Quebec. Now, Charest has been criticized because he used to lead a provincial Liberal party, and he raised taxes while he was doing it. Now, he's promising to cut income taxes, expedite natural resource development, and fund the construction of more hospital beds in Canada. Roman Baber, Scott Aitchison, and Leslyn Lewis are also running for leadership. Now, we don't know who's going to get the most votes or the most points, but we do have an idea of who is supporting whom within the Conservative caucus, don't we, Samantha?
We do. Poilievre has amassed over half of the Conservatives caucus of 119 MPs. He's pulling support from across the country, but especially in the western provinces of Alberta and Saskatchewan, and further east, Canada's most populous province, Ontario. We have Charest with 16 MPs, and Lewis has the support of 10 MPs, which of course is considerably less than Pierre Poilievre.
That's right, yeah. And Poilievre, he got a big endorsement late in the race, didn't he?
That's right. Former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, who led the country between 2006 and 2015, recently threw his support behind the frontrunner. Now, that was a big get for Poilievre and unusual because Harper had not endorsed a candidate in the 2017 and 2020 Conservative leadership races. Poilievre is also getting a big financial support from party members. According to the latest numbers for the second quarter, he raised about $4 million. Now, that is more than all four opponents combined for the months of April, May, and June. But we won't have a full picture of the final fundraising numbers until the end of the third quarter after the race is over.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, the Conservative leadership race isn't the only thing happening in Ottawa in September. The House of Commons is returning to action as well, and the MPs will have a lot waiting for them when they get here. Samantha, can you give us a rundown of some of the bills the government will be trying to pass through the House when it returns?
Yes. So House of Commons committees have already begun studying government legislation that would bring in strict gun controls, that would enhance French language protections, and force social media platforms to negotiate payout deals with news companies. We also have more than a dozen government legislation at various stages of the House of Commons. One would bring in a government benefit for people living with disabilities. Another would overhaul consumer privacy laws, and a third would bring in new boundaries for when border control officers could search your personal electronic devices. Now, the government will also have to decide whether to accept a major amendment that was put forward by senators on Bill S7. So the senators have said that they aren't accepting the government's strict criteria, and so the government will have to decide whether to accept or reject that amendment. And that bill is overseen by Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino. Speaking of senators, what can we expect in the Red Chamber when it returns?
Well, the senators are coming back a day after the MPs, so September 20th. Unlike the House, which will be quite busy, senators have only 2 government bills waiting for them right now. One proposes to require that online streaming services like Netflix and YouTube follow the same rules that conventional Canadian broadcasters follow under the Broadcasting Act. Now, that bill has proven to be a little bit controversial, but maybe not as controversial as the other bill in the Senate, which is a comprehensive criminal sentencing reform bill brought forward by Justice Minister David Lametti. Now, this would, among other things, get rid of a list of mandatory minimum sentences for some gun and drug crimes. Now, that's going to keep parliamentarians quite busy in the month of September, and that's all we have for you today. Until next time, I'm Peter Masaru.
And I'm Samantha Wright-Allen. Have a great evening, everyone.